Yeah, back at it.
Peace, more. Give thanks again. So yeah, we're gonna get right back to. We're gonna start it right from the beginning of
Yeah,
everything. So
might as well.
let's get going.
Okay, let's begin with the African people, the Keftiu, known as the Cretans or Cretans, who my research has shown to be the people who first educated the Greeks in their lessons in civilization in the early second millennium BC. And before we proceed, I'd like to point out the fact that when you look through the college textbooks and all the books in ancient history, there's very little that is said about the Cretans in the Northern civilization, the Keftiu. And once we go through this little lesson today, you'll understand exactly why. Now, the Cretans, who are they? They are people that came from the area that's known today as Kenya. Somewhere down here in East Africa, and about 4,000 BC, they made their way up and settled here in what is today Libya. You know, Sais, where they worship the mother god, the snake, along with the people who mix in with the blacks of Sumer over here. The Keftiu later on traveled to the island of Crete, and the other people became the Akan people. When the Holocaust came, they came down to West Africa. But around 4,000 BC, the Keftiu came and traveled to the island that is now called Crete and established a phenomenal civilization. And these are people who in ancient times controlled the entire Mediterranean Sea. They were phenomenal sailors. Okay? And then from this island, they controlled Athens and mainland Greece during the period of 4,000 BC to about 1,500 BC. Here's a view of the Keftiu Palace, the Palace of Knossos. Many books try to make you believe that this was, early prehistoric Greek achievement. This is just simply one of many palaces. Phenomenal. Look at this. Let's talk about the original Greeks. The first people who became Greeks were Aryans, who were called the Aeolians and Ionians. They came into what is now known as Greece, worshipping the Hindu trinity, Indra, Mitra, and Varuna, and settled in Thessaly and central Greece. There they found a people who were infinitely more powerful and accomplished than them, the Keftiu, the Cretans, the Africans from East Africa, what is Kenya today. So they became vassals to the Africans. The Africans had much to teach them. And also the Africans, the Cretans, or Keftiu, exported their civilization to Athens and the Peloponnese. Now you go to school and we talk about Hellenic civilization. Helen or Hellene is the name that's given to the Greeks. Now Helen was the son of Deucalion, and his name was derived from Helen or Selene, which are all names for the mother goddess of the Cretans. The Cretans, or the Keftiu, were a matriarchal civilization, and God was a woman. in those days with these African people. Now, Helen was name given to the royal deputy to the high priestess of Selene, meaning that when the Ionians and the Ionians came to central Greece and Thessaly, they began to start a religion with the high priestesses of the mother goddess. And the Greek deputy, royal deputy for the high priestess was called Helen. And this is where we get the name Hellenic civilization from. Grace was the name that the Africans gave to those Greeks, those Aryans people who worshiped the mother goddess Crone, the earth goddess of the Cretans. And Gracia, of course, eventually became Grecia or Greece. So the word Grecia is an African word. And they are using it to this day. Now, who were the Cretans? You know, the first evidence we have for the Cretans, okay? We have the tomb of Menkaure Peresende, 15th century BC, from Thebes, the Ammonites. And here we have Cretans. These are the black people. We see them here. This is a bibliographical reference. And along interspersed with them, we have some white people who are Syrians. And we see that the Africans, the Keftir, the Cretans, you never see this clearly shown to you in European books. You notice that they have the same kind of, wear the same kind of garments as the Egyptian men. You see that? Because it's an African style, whereas the Syrians are all robed up because they cannot stand the sun. They might get skin cancer. And here we have, again, another version of the procession, and we can see that these are clearly African people. The Olympics. When we delve into our history, we find that the Cretans, the Keftir, these East Africaners, used to have sports as the preliminary to their major annual religious ceremonies. They had boxing and bullfighting, wrestling, races, and so on. This is where the Olympics came from. A celebration that the Keftir initiated the Greeks into. In the Palace of Knossos, there are frescoes. We have these are painted in the palaces. And here we have, of course, a white woman, have white people here, and a black person, meaning that we see that in the Cretan world and the early Greek world, the blacks and the whites intermingle. You see that? So these are white people partaking in the ceremonies that were taught to them by the African people. I'd like to point out to you that the man who discovered Crete, a man by the name of Charles Evans, he retouched the paintings to make them look like modern European frescoes because he wanted to remove the African style of the paintings. And this has been very well documented historically by researchers, but you will not find this information in your popular books on ancient history. The Cretans also taught the Greeks agriculture. They taught them how to grow olives, grapes, because the Greeks, the old Zionists, were herdsmen. You know, the nomadic people. They knew nothing about agriculture when they first came down to Palestine. They were taught seafaring. That's how, the Greeks, who were nomadic herdsmen, became masters of the seas later on. They were taught religion when they served the African mother goddess, Selene and Chrome and so on. And they were initiated into the Lucinian initiation system by the Cretans. Mystery system that's shrouded in a lot of mystery because they don't want you to know that these were African people that gave the Greeks the Lucinian mystery system. As a matter of fact, a lot of so-called Greek mythology, all the goddesses which have been demonized in Greek mythology and given a subservient position to the Greek gods, the male divine figures in the mythology, were really the high benign goddesses of the African people. Once the Greeks took over, and we talk about how they took over later on, they demoted the goddesses and raised up Zeus and Hercules and so on and so forth. These nomadic people were taught architecture. And this linear B writing of the African people. They were using linear B, 6,000 years ago, these African people from East Africa. This African developed writing system. And for over 1,000 years, the Cretans tried to teach the Greeks how to use their writing system so that they could create a writing system for their language, and the Greeks were not able to achieve the task. Yet we are told that the Greeks somehow possessed this great mind and started a great knowledge explosion. Wow. This is a topic that we need to have another lecture on. Crete is Atlantis. Last year, archaeologists verified that Crete and many islands in that area were destroyed by a huge tsunami. In the days of Herodotus.
Okay, so we want to stop there for a minute. We're going to pause it right there because that is a real big point that we're going to go off of. So Crete is Atlantis. Okay. Now, before we get into that specifically, I wanted to touch on the word black and Cam and how he is using it so that it can be understood. And then we're going to go right back into Crete being Atlantis and what that means. Okay, so out of this book here, from this book here, there we go. Okay, so you can get a good glimpse at that one. Not out of Greece. So out of this, from this book here, we're going to read a little bit. Okay, from page, hold on here, 52. Okay, so I want you to pay real close attention. We're going to talk on the word black and Kemet, and what it means and how it's used. And then we're going to get back into Atlantis and being Atlantis. So check this out now. Yet the Egyptians called themselves black people. And then he puts quote unquote Negroes as to what in America. From the Latin negro, meaning black. The word they used to denote themselves, okay? The word that they used to denote themselves was Camau. It is compounded of Cam, meaning black, whose determinative is at the black scale of the crocodile, the and-a-u at all. The word denoting themselves Cam.
They're killing you again.
It's
crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Could you get closer to your mic?
Yeah, let me try.
Yeah, still tripping.
Where? Check.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Pardon me?
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, you're doing it's happening again.
You hear that?
Hello?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, man.
I don't know. Oh, you know what? One more. Let's try it. We're all gonna go over to Canaanland Moors 2. Canaanland Moors 2. We'll try that one, see if that works. If that doesn't work, then
Are we on Canaanland 1?
yeah, we're on 1 right now. So we're gonna try 2, see what that one's saying.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. What do?
Is it better?
You plugged out something? It's better now. I'm not hearing you now.
Switch.
Yeah, he's gonna get back in. Right, this is why people have to make IGs called Gunther and all this type of stuff, because of this stuff right here. That's why. Right? Because if it sounds, because what happened the time before that, it was clear, but then when it uploaded to YouTube, it was messed up. That's why, even if you could hear it, I don't want to take the chance. I don't want to take the chance to upload it, thinking that only you could hear it. But yeah, we're back. Peace, more. Can't hear you.
Go in.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Another input source to be working for now. Let's see. And we're going to get back to Atlantis. To that, I'm just going to and how and a bit of as I was saying.
It's still tripping.
Egyptians.
Yeah, it's still tripping. I'm not. Stuff is not clear what I'm hearing. Yeah, somebody else said that they're still playing too.
Some of the technicality.
Yeah, they're definitely playing with it still. Yeah, yo, let's try. We'll try the 2. I'm gonna send you the link for the Canaanland Moors 2 and see what that's saying.
Okay.
All right.
Other sources will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canaanland Moors 2.